Hello everyone, welcome to Russell Does Reviews. Today we're going to do a breakdown of Wandavision Episode 5. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button to get the most up-to-date videos from me. There's a lot to unpack in this episode, so pay attention. This video is a spoiler fest, so if you have not watched this episode yet, please do so before watching this video. Please watch at your discretion. Okay, it looks like we are now in the 80s with growing pains, family ties, and a full house atmosphere. Agnes asking Wanda, "Do you want me to take that again?" She knows more than she lets up. Clearly, she knows that Wanda is controlled. That's why she's asking for permission. We see the opening sequence. Again, if you have not seen Family Ties, Growing Pains, and Full House, you'll notice the slight resemblance of this opening sequence. Monica undergoes an X-ray testing, which turns out to be blank. The radiographer is saying there's something wrong with the machine. She does not want to get another blood test. Probably scared of what she'll find. Okay, in the briefing, they say that Wanda was born in 1989. That's the same year that Elizabeth Olsen, the person playing Wanda, was born. Park is providing an updated history of Wanda's parents, Irina and Oleg Maximoff. He mentions that they died in an air raid. Now, I do want to mention that the birth mom in the comics name was Magda. And the dad, as you all know, is Magneto. So Park mentioned that Wanda gained abilities using the Mind Stone. That's kind of correct, but because there's no X-Men in this universe, they're probably not going to mention mutants as of right now. So they go to the briefing and they say that Wanda came to the Sword headquarters and took Vision's body. There was a living will for Vision, and Vision wrote in this will that he does not want to be resurrected, mainly because he was scared that he was going to be used as a weapon. More on this later in the upcoming scene. Now you see Vision holding this paper. You see the way he's folded the paper. It says HOM in there. I've mentioned this many times, but it looks like this is a reference for House of M. I implore you to read that comic book. It was released in 2005 and it was an 8-chapter series. It was really good. I feel like the WandaVision is based on House of M. It's the kid version of it. Vision seems to notice that things are falling into the right place all the time. The kids found the little puppy. They have no equipment for it, and for some reason Agnes comes in the door with a doghouse. This is where Vision realizes that there's more to what Wanda is telling him. Dr. Lacey calls the anomaly the Hex, based on the hexagon shape of the Westview, I guess you could say, the field, the hexagon field. But in the comics, Wanda's powers were actually called Hex Magic. So. Park mentions the name Captain Marvel, and Monica, just froze. If you want to find out more about the tie-in with that, you can Google it, okay? But I'm not gonna sway you away from this discussion of the WandaVision. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Monica mentions that she has an aerospace engineering friend. Now there's a rumor right now that it's supposed to be Reed Richards. If you don't know Reed Richards, he's Mr. Fantastic from Fantastic Four. You can also notice the uniforms of Sword. It seems to tie into Fantastic Four's color scheme for their costumes. So the explanation with the suit or the dress that Monica came out of Westview, the way it works is when you come into Westview with a dress or a shirt or whatever, it changes it to the style of the setting of Westview. So in this case, they were in the 70s. So when she came in with their Kevlar suit, the Kevlar suit became a 70s style fashion dress, pants. You may notice the Vision is using a Commodore 64 at work, and he connected to the internet And you probably noticed the modem sound. So if you did internet in the 90s, you'll remember that modem sound. So Vision intercepts an email from Dr. Lacey Lewis. So again, this is tying in with Monica. Now Monica came crashing out of the anomaly, the hex anomaly. And Dr. Lacey Lewis is literally mentioning in this email that what would somebody that goes through all that radiation, what would happen to them? It could also be a foreshadowing of what's happening to the people as well in Westview. So they are exposed to radiation as well. So Vision taps into his friend's mind, and he basically got the sense of fear and the sense of no control of what's happening. He feels that Wanda is controlling all of this. So the kid asked, where is Daddy? And they said that it's Saturday, but it looks like Wanda changed the day to Monday to distract Vision. I guess she just does not want to have this conversation, which you'll notice more in the next scene. So I'm going to explain the drone, okay? So again, anything that goes through Westview transforms into the setting of Westview. That drone was created in the 80s. So when it goes in Westview, it's not going to change because it's from that era. That's why they chose that drone. So this is the foreshadowing that I was talking about earlier. In Vision's will, he didn't want to be revived because he could be used as a weapon. So this is what happened with this drone. This drone was probably stashed away somewhere, and it got revived, and the director used it to try to kill Wanda, which she did not like at all. Oh, and also the drone displays Stark Industries on it, if you squint. So they did mention already that Wanda manipulates reality. So when the soldiers started pointing the gun to the director, who I would say kind of deserves it, she bended reality to make him look like the bad guy here, controlling the soldiers to point the gun at the director. You only get one warning. When she goes back in Westview, you get like maybe 10 seconds of the barrier being shown here. It looks like there was another layer of barrier that got added in there. So it's either going to be for security reason, for her to notice if somebody is stepping in the first barrier, and then if they get through to the second barrier. So from what I can see, there's another layer that was added in the barrier. So this is another pretty interesting one. The mailman says that your mom will not let him go far away, implying that Wanda has control. And you could see a little sense of, it's not noticeable, but you see a little sense of fear in front of his eyes. So Wanda's kids, this is another foreshadowing. Wanda's kids discussing about bringing back the dead. Now we all know what happened, what Wanda's history is, but if you don't know, her brother died in Age of Ultron. So watch that movie, it's pretty good. So I'm not sure how, subconsciously, I think something in her mind just clicked, and this will lead us to something else that happens at the end of this episode. As you can see, Vision wants to talk about what's happening here. She mentions about his friend, that he's fearing for his life, he wants out of this control. And Wanda does not want to talk about it, of course, so she puts the credits up, thinking that, that's one way of ending this conversation. Vision mentions about Wanda's control, to which she says that she can. So Wanda mentions that this is all for us. And Vision mentions again this key word, subconsciously. I think you're doing this, Wanda, subconsciously. Another interesting thing that Vision mentioned is that he does not remember what happened in the past. So it looks like he does not know that he died. Vision, and again, I think this might be another foreshadowing, but he mentioned that there are no kids in Westview, which, as you can see in the last 4 episodes, there hasn't been any kids. We might find out more about this later. Now, as they're about to, as they're still having a conversation, again, the distraction, or at least something to stop this conversation, has to happen. Whether she did it subconsciously or not, we don't really know. The doorbell rings and someone at the door. And lo and behold, because we were talking about it earlier, bringing back somebody from the dead, we have Pietro, Quicksilver. But not the Pietro that you know from Age of Ultron, not Aaron Taylor. We have Evan Peters from the Fox version of X-Men Quicksilver. As you can probably tell, probably the reason why this happened, I'm sure there's a story version of it, but the reason that Evan Peters was probably allowed to show up here is because Disney bought Fox. So I'm gonna leave you this one thing over here, okay? So there are the commercials with regards to what's happening with Wandavision. There's a theory right now that it's based on the Infinity Stones. So I'm gonna go through this, okay? So we have the toaster in episode 1. This is the Power Stone. And clearly you can tell that the watch commercial is time. So that's Time Stone. The back powder that you saw is space. It looks like the Tesseract. In episode 5 we have the red liquid representing the ether, which is basically the reality stone. Pay attention to the last 2 commercials. We might see the Mind Stone and the Soul Stone. So just keep an eye out on that, okay? Thank you for taking the time in watching my WandaVision episode 5 breakdown in tidbits video. If there's any mistakes that I've mentioned that you want to correct, feel free to do so. If there's anything that I missed, you can actually also let me know in the comments. Again, please hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thank you for watching. Till the next episode, Russell signing off.